So good morning, everyone. So before to start today, let's wait a little bit more if to check if someone else will join us. But first of all, I want to thank you, everyone, to be here and to attend our first webinar with RenewChem. So let's wait 5 minutes more to check if someone else join us.
Okay, Tiago, I think we can give it 2 more minutes. I think 5 past. If nobody joins, we can start, and then we can just have a look who joins afterwards.
Okay, no problem, Ricos. Let's start with that. So once again, good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. Uh, I hope that everyone can hear me properly. If not, please tell me and write on the chat because at the moment you don't have access to um, talk. Um, so first of all, I would like to thank RenewChem for the partnership and for organizing this session. It's a pleasure to be here with you. Today's topic is extremely relevant, and the question is, what happens after installation? Because in solar, the real challenge is not building the plant, it's maintaining performance over time. So let's start with the presentation. These are the content about what we will be talking today during the session. And let's start with the first one. So the first topic is PV cleaning, limitations and guidelines from the top manufacturers. What I want to show you here is something very important. This is not a Chemitek opinion, that what top PV manufacturer expect when it comes to cleaning. When we talk about cleaning in solar, we are not operating in isolation. Everything must be aligned with the manufacturer requirements and validated by independent laboratories, because in solar, it's not about what we claim, it's about what it's proven. Um, that's why our solutions are biodegradable and eco-friendly, okay? And they are, most importantly, validated by entities like SUD and CVR. And the tests carried out on these entities speak for themselves when it comes to our products. So, first of all, they cause any risk for the modules, including glass, aluminum, silicon, and other components. They don't have any interference on the light transmission, and most importantly, they don't have any interference on the performance and lifetime of the air coating. Also, another point important, it's the products are compatible with all the cleaning methods and equipments like brush, robots, and brush on tractor. What the biggest PV manufacturers require to clean? Now, when we look to the actual cleaning practice, normally they recommend to using approved and eco-friendly products, using soft water. Why? Because we want to avoid when the panels dry the appearance of stains on the panels, cleaning at the right time of the day, and the right time of the day normally it's the beginning or the end of the day when the temperatures outside are not so hot, and also avoiding aggressive methods like high pressure and scrubbers. Let's look at what actually happens when solar plants are not properly cleaned. So when contamination accumulates unevenly, it creates hotspots. So what we can see here on the image. And hotspots are not just inefficiency. They are thermal stress points and can permanently damage the modules. Over time, the contamination also accelerates and cause silicon degradation, aluminum oxidation, and this can lead with water infiltration, what can cause, of course, a lot of problems on the solar panels. And very importantly, the anti-reflective coating starts to degrade faster. And once that happens, normally performance can't be fully recovered. Now, all this leads to something very simple and very important. Substantial financial loss, reduced module lifespan, and extended time until the return of the investment on the solar plant. And this last one, I believe that the asset owners doesn't want, because when they invest in a solar plant, what they want is to have a return on the investment they are doing, because we are sometimes talking about a big investment on a solar plant. So the real risk is not what you see today, it's what you don't see happening over time. What starts as a small loss become normally a long-term problem. And this is why cleaning is not just maintenance, it's asset protection. And as I always like to say, the cost of not cleaning will always be greater if you postpone it, if you postpone the cleaning. So here we have some critical image. Solar assets don't fail suddenly. They degrade silently, as we say. Most performance losses don't come from major failures. They come from soiling, as we can see on this image. So we have, of course, different kind of soilings, one more aggressive than the others. Cement dust, it's one of the worst. We can have more than 40% of loss in solar plants contaminate with cement dust. Bird droppings are probably the more common soiling that we can find in solar panels, but also have a big impact on the performance and on loss. We are talking about 15% or more. Fungi, 25%. One of the other's worst contaminants will be the metal oxide, that can cause more than 50% of loss, lichens, paint overspray. So now going to the second topic, I will present to you our product range and what make Chemitek different. So our range of products is divided into two. We have our soiling mitigation coatings, where we can find our SolarWash Protect. Our SolarWash Protect is a two-in-one product. It's a detergent to clean all the organic contamination like sand, dust, bird droppings, and at the same time, it's an anti-static coating. So when you are cleaning the panels, you are also applying a layer, a protection layer on the panels. And what is the main goal of the anti-static coating? The main goal of the anti-static coating is to reduce the adhesion of soiling between cleanings and also the incrustation of the soiling to the glass, making easier the next cleanings. We have also our anti-static solar armor 2.0. In terms of coating, the goal is similar to the SolarWash Protect. The only difference between both is the time of the anti-static coating. The SolarWash Protect, normally the coating of the SolarWash Protect will be 6 months, and for the anti-static solar armor will be 12 months. We have here also a product that can also be important for the South African market, because you have some plants like that. It's the Chemitek. It's an anti-static solar anti-static coating, but for the CSP mirrors. And we have also two other coatings, different. These ones, the Solar Defender and the Industrial Blast Protect. These ones are hydrophobic, normally recommended for countries with a high level of humidity, with long periods of rain or with snow. Going now to the contaminant removal agents, we have different kind of products for different kind of soilings. We have the cement removal agent here for cement dust, stone dust, limestone. We have the metal oxide removal agent for metal oxide, for aluminum oxide, for rust. We have the lichen removal agent for the fungi, for the lichens, also appropriate and effective for grease and oil. We have the paint removal agent for the paint stains, okay? And we have the water softening agent. The water softening agent, it's also a very important product that we have developed. Why? Because this product will reduce the hardness of the water, okay? This will allow you to not invest in expensive accessories and equipments like the reverse osmosis, the osmosis inverse. The product will cap the ions of calcium, aluminum on the water to reduce the hardness of the water. And recently, last year, we have also launched a new product for drone application, the drone solar cleaning agent. This product is to be applied by drone. It's only appropriate for organic soiling like dust and sand or droppings. And this is our new product for solar. So now the question is, what makes Chemitek Solar different? At Chemitek, our approach has always been very clear. We don't adapt generic chemicals to solar. We develop solution specifically for the PV industry. All our formulations are proprietary and developed specifically for solar application. Because as we've seen, not all contamination is the same. We can have different kind of solvings, and not all solutions are suitable. We have 3 patents in anti-soiling coatings, which reflects our focus not only on cleaning, but also on preventing future contamination. Our products are biodegradable and eco-friendly. Across the product life cycle, the environmental impact is not just minimized, it's actually net positive in terms of CO2 balance. In other words, to be more simple, we are not only helping improving solar performance, we are also aligned with the sustainability goals of the industry itself, because performance should never come at the expense of the environmental impacts. Also, and most importantly, probably our solutions are tested by independent laboratories such to SUD, so the German lab that also test and certify all the solar panels. This ensures compatibility with the PV modules and safety in real operating conditions. We have also letters of conformity from the biggest manufacturers on the world, which is critical because alignment with the manufacturer is important in this industry. And also our solutions are designed for specific applications, like floating solar plants, where environmental and material compatibility is even more critical. So our solar protect and our water stopping agents have the ecotoxicity certificates. So now let's talk about the letters of conformity. As you can see on the slide, we have different letters of conformity from the biggest manufacturers on the world. We have 17 for the SolarWorks Protect and the anti-static solar armor. We have 9 now for the signature removal agent, and we have also for the solar defender, for the leak and removal agent, and for the paint metal water softening agent, and also for the new one, the drone solar cleaning agent. One important question we often receive is, will using the product affect the module warranty? And this is a very valid concern. From the manufacturer perspective, warranties are designed to cover product-related defects, not external factors. In fact, if you look at most warranty documents, you will see that soiling and environmental contamination are typically listed as exclusions, which means performance loss caused by aggressive dirt, residues, or external deposits are not covered under warranty. So in reality, it's the lack of proper cleaning and maintenance over time that puts the warranty at risk. This is exactly where Chemitek solution come in. Our role here is to provide a safe and tested way to remove contamination without damaging the modules and fully aligned with the manufacturer guidelines. So instead of being a risk, the correct cleaning approach is actually a way to approach the asset and preserve its performance within the framework defined by the manufacturer. So warranty doesn't cover soiling, but soiling affects performance. And this is where Chemitek On the fourth topic, let's talk about soiling, contaminants, and I guess the products. So we have here a table with different kind of soilings and the products appropriate for these soilings. Here on the left, we can see on this first table, more of them are organic contamination like soil, bird droppings, carbon deposits, pollen. And for all these kind of soiling, the most appropriate products will be the Solar Wash Protect and also the drone solar cleaning agent. Nevertheless, the leak and removal agent can be also an option, but if you have this kind of soiling, what we recommend is firstly to use the Solar Protect, and if the results are not good enough, so consider it to use the leak and removal agents. On this one, we have other kind of contaminations, and as we can see, for example, and as I said before, for grease, normally the leak and removal agent can be the most appropriate. The Solar Wash Protect can be also considered, but normally on this kind of soiling, the leak and removal agent will be probably the most effective. For paint over spray, so the paint removal agent will be the most appropriate. For metal dust and rust, the metal removal agent. For cement and limestone, the cement removal agent. For lichens, fungi, it will be the lichen removal agent. For bitumen, it's a more aggressive contaminant and difficult to remove, but the paint removal agent can also be effective for that. The same for the silicon stains. It's very difficult to remove it, and also if the paint removal agents are not aggressive for the silicon present on the panel, it will be also difficult to remove it if you have this kind of problem on the panels. And for the hard water stains, what we recommend is the cement removal agent, because normally these kind of stains are composed by calcium and these kind of components. So for the hard water minerals, so what we recommend is to use the water softening agent on the water to avoid this kind of problems. So when we go to do a cleaning, it's very important to have in mind some best practice, and even more if you are using our products. So let's talk about some of them. So what we recommend is to start always with the recommend dilution that we have on our user guide. You can also find the dilution, on the label of the drum. And very important will be to adjust the dilution based on the level of soiling that you will find on the solar plant. So what we recommend also before to start is to do a small test in a small area of one panel with different dilutions, and check what will be the dilution that can give you the best results. Also very important, the panels should be dry before applying our products, because if not, when you will be applying the product on the panel, you'll be indirectly increasing the dilution of the products. The panels that are too hot or need freezing, that can be too hot and freezing too, because if not, the product will lose its efficiency. Then very important too, it's to use the right bristle stiffness for the job, also the good and appropriate equipment. It's very important too. Make sure to use enough products to cover the entire surface of the panel. This is also very important. And if you want, we have also some files that we can share with you according to the quantity for each meter square. Some products like the liquor removal agents or the paint removal agents need to time to act to react with the solving before brushing. The cement removal agent and the metal oxide normally it's not necessary. So after to spray the products on the panels, you can brush immediately because normally the reaction will be immediate. So sorry, I was just check the chat because I believe we have some questions.
So Tiago, I see the question is, you apply the spray on it or immediately use the brush system? So yeah, I think either one of us can answer that.
So I saw that Bruno, I've already replied to the question about the hydrophobic coating. So we have a question from Piotr Plata about you apply them spraying on it or immediately use the brush system. It will depend. If you can spray the products with a manual sprayer, or you can spray the products with the brush or with the robots. But probably it will be better to let the question to the end and we answer all of them. What do you think, Rigus?
Yes, I agree. We can do it like that. And just on that, I would just like to mention, I think it's the next section or two sections after that. Then we will be going through the application and the brushes and all of that. So I think the next topic or the topic after that, that answer will also be answered for that question. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. So let's continue. So of course, all the products need to be brushed to be efficient, and also at the end, it's very important to rinse to remove all the soiling present on the panel and also the excess of product. And one of the most important, and we have already talked about, is to use softs or demineralized water to avoid stains to appear after the panels dry. So if you did everything well and the problem persists, it's not a problem. RenewChem it's here to give you all the technical support. Chemitek too. So if you have any question, any doubts, or if you want to plan before to do the clinic, we are of course able to give you all the support to do there and make a good job. So let's now check and talk about troubleshooting and what we recommend to do when you have a project. So if you go somewhere to a plant and you don't know what kind of stalling is present on the panels, the first thing that we recommend to do is to check what can be the source of contamination. If you can identify the source of contamination, great. Now let's try to understand what kind of industrial process it's coming from. If it's an organic, we already know that probably the most appropriate product for that will be the Solar Protect. So make a test with the Solar Protect. If it's not enough to remove the soiling, so you can go to the other option that we have already talked about, the leak and removal agents. If we go, if the industrial process it's an inorganic one, so what we recommend to do is to make some small tests in small areas of the panels with the different products that we have. Normally, we recommend to do the test with the product in its pure states, okay? So without dilution with water. So spray the products on a small area of the panels, brush it, and rinse, and check the results. So this is the way that we recommend to do the job. After to see what will be the appropriate products, so make another small tests with different dilutions until you find the higher dilution with good results. Okay. So let's talk about the cleaning method and the product. As we can see here, so the first thing to do after to do these small tests and find the appropriate products, it's to dilute the products in water because, and I forget to mention that before, all the products are concentrated, so they need to be diluted in water. Each product has its own dilution. So the first thing is after to check what will be the appropriate dilution, dilute the product in water. You can spray the product, as I said, manually with a sprayer, or you can do it with your brush or with the robot, as we will see in some videos after. Brush the product and at the end rinse to remove all the excess of product and the soiling present on the panels. So we have different ways to do it. We can mix the products in the cleaning water directly in the water tank, as we can see here. Or you can use a dosing pump. So very important, the water treatment system, okay, the filters to remove the TDS from the water. And on the treated water tank, we can have or add our water softening agent, okay, to reduce the hardness of the water.
Tiago, I just quickly want to mention on that previous slide as well. So the steps when applying the product to the panels, it's important to not add additional water. If you're spraying the product on and you're washing it with a brush, it's important to not add more water, as you'll just be diluting the product further and taking away some of its effectivity.
Correct. We will see that on the videos after, but yes, after to spray the products on the panels, it's important to brush without water. Okay, so to not increase the dilution of the products. So here we have a table where you can see what is the product that needs time to react with the products, with the soiling, sorry. So the leak and removal agent, the metal oxide removal agent will depend on the kind of projects, but in some projects, we have already received some feedback that it's more effective to let the product react for some time with the soiling. The paint removal agent, the water softening agent, when you add the products on the water tank, normally you need to let the product react for 20 minutes. If you use a dosatron with a mixer, this dwell time is not necessary because the reaction will be instantly immediate. Okay, so the drone solar cleaning agent also need to let it for 5 minutes before rinsing. Okay, some of the products need to be pre-sprayed. The Solar Protect can be pre-sprayed or mixed on the cleaning water, but the other ones, the removal agents, needs to be pre-sprayed before brushing. Okay. Normally, the all the coatings, the anti-static solar armor, the Dissolver Defender, or the Chemitek. You can add them on the cleaning water, okay? So you don't need to spray the products on the panels. And also another important point on the coating, sorry, they don't need to be rinsing after, okay? So you are applying the coating at the same time you are cleaning. As you can see here, the products can be used with different kind of equipment and tools: manual brush, rotary brush, robot, and brush on tractor for the big solar plants. So we have here some case of the product application. On the first video, as we can see, the Solar Protect is being spraying manually with a sprayer. Sorry. On the second video, we are brushing the product without water. Okay, very important. And on the last one, they are rinsing the product and the soiling. Here we have another case with a different kind of brush. So on the first video, we are spraying the product also manually. On the second one, brushing the product without water. And at the end, of course, very important to rinse. Here is the method used. It's different. So the product was mixed directly on the cleaning water, and we are applying the product directly with the brush. Okay, applying the product with the brush and brushing it at the same time, and at the end we rinse the panels. Here we have different case of application with the robot. On the first one, the product was sprayed manually, okay, and after that we use the robot to brush with the front brush, okay, and rinsing with the back brush. Sorry. On this one, the second one, the product was mixed directly in the cleaning water. So on the first pass, the robot will apply the product, and we need a second pass to brush and rinse. Here, and on these two videos, sorry, and important to mention, so normally the dilution of the Solar Protect, it's 1 kilo of product for 50 liters of water. So with the robot, we can use a higher dilution, 1 kilo of product for 150 liters of water, and with this dilution we can keep the anti-static property. Nevertheless, this requires always a second pass to rinse the product. If you want to avoid the second pass, you can increase the dilution of the product until 1 kilo of product for 300 liters of water. But you need to have in mind that when we do that, you will lose the anti-static property. Okay, so the product will only be a detergent. Okay, so the Solar Protect will lose the anti-static property and will always only be a detergent to remove the organic soiling from the panels. So it's what is happening here on these two videos. So the product was mixed directly in the cleaning water with the high dilution to avoid the second pass, the rinsing. Here we have some case with cement removal agent using rotary brush. On the first case here, we can see the technical man applying the product with a sprayer, and another one coming after brushing and rinsing with the brush. Here, with a different kind of brush, we can see the product being applied with the brush. After is brushing without water, very important, as we have already mentioned. And at the end, rinsing with water. Here we have a case using the robots, also with cement removal agents. As you can see, and also on this one, when we are spraying the product on the panel, a white foam is being creating. This is a reaction between the product and the soiling. So normally this will happen always when you have a problem that requires the use of the cement removal agent. So this white foam being creating. After we use the robot on the first pass to brush the product without water, and we need a second pass to brush and rinse. Here on this video, it's a different method. This one was a small, adaptation that the technical person made on the robot. I think we can see here on the beginning of the video. So he make a small adaptation to use two holes on the robot, one for the front brush, another one for the back brush. So now it's using the robot to spray the product on the panel, and after on the second pass, he will brush and rinse. So here is the adaptation made by the technical person to use two holes on the robot. Here we have a case with two cases with the lichen removal, the lichens, sorry. So as we can see here on the video, on the first video, normally these kind of lichens are very encrusted on the glass, so it's very difficult to remove them. So what we do is to apply the product on the panels. As you can see, after let the product act with the contaminants, the lichens become green, and it's very easy after to remove them. We can do it with our fingers. So this is all the panels are at the end after brushing and rinsing. Here it's another case with the lichen removal agent. So as you can see, this one was already cleaned and without lichens, and this was the before.
Yeah, I'll go if I can just add a bit from my side on the lichen remover. So I think what a lot of people don't realize is that the lichen has little hairy fingers, I would call it, so it gets into the crevices of the glass itself, making it extremely difficult to remove with anything with anything else. So I think that's just a testament to your lichen removal agent, how good it works, and how easily the lichen gets removed from the panels. Because as I said, without it, you'll have to scrape it off, damaging your panels, and then also you won't get the fungi itself removed. That little arms and hairs stays in the crevice of the glass. So I think that's just a great testament to your product, the lichen removal agent.
Yes, and thank you, Ricos, for that. It's true. So as I said, normally the lichen is very encrusted to the glass, so it's why it's very difficult to remove it. But now we have a product for that to help. So here we have another case with the use of the lichen removal agent, a different kind of soiling fungi, and this was the before cleaning. After we spray the product manually on the panels, we let the product act for some time. So in this case, it was 10 minutes, and you can see that after waiting, it's very easy to remove the soiling even with your hands. So this is the aspect after brushing and rinsing. Another very aggressive contaminant is the metal oxide. As you can see here on the first video, he's passing his hands on the panels, and we can see that the soiling is very encrusted to the glass, so very difficult to remove it. On the second video, we are applying the product manually on the panel. This white foam can happen or not with the metal oxide. Okay, now with the cement removal agent, it will always open. With the metal oxide, it can open or not. Can happen or not. Sorry. So we are applying the product, spraying the product manually, and as you can see, after to apply the product and before brushing, we can already remove the soiling with our hand. So it's why it's very important in some case to, because this is the kind of case that show us that cleaning only with water it's impossible because the soiling is very encrusted on the glass, and we need an appropriate product to remove it. So after to spray the product, they use the robot to brush and rinse. And we can already see here on this video the difference before and after cleaning. So another topic will be the use of the dosing pump. This can be a very good tool to use during your service, your cleaning service. So we recommend the dosatron, and they have already different models that you can use with some of our products because they adapt with different type of dilutions. So you can use the dosatron with the Solar Protect, with the anti-static solar armor, with the dissolver, the water softening agent, and also the lichen. At the moment, it doesn't exist yet a model to use the cement removal agent and the metal oxide and the paint because the dilution of these products are too low to allow the use of the dosing pump. But we already have other models that you can use and adapt to use the other products. I will answer the question on the chat at the end. Okay, so we will have after this last topic Q&A, so you can at the end put your questions. So here we have probably the most important slide about this presentation, because as I said on the beginning of the presentation, the real impact of the solar is on the financial loss that we have with the presence of the solar on the panels. So we have here two different cases, and where we are going to prove the return of the investment. And on the first one, a 10 megawatt solar plant contaminated with cement dust, and where the performance loss was 40%. And we are talking about probably the minimum percentage of loss, because we have already shown some case where the performance loss was higher than that. In some cases, 100%. So considering this one with 40% of loss in a 10 megawatt plant, this means that the asset owner is losing 720,000 euros per year. Okay, and we are talking about money. So calculating the price to do the cleaning of this solar plant, normally the CRA cost will be around 30,000 euros. We estimate a labor cost of 75,000 euros. So at the end, the gain will be 615,000 euros on the first year. Okay, so the return of the investment for the products will be lower than 2 months. So after the cleanings and after 2 months, what we will everything will be a gain for the asset owner. And we are talking about a big number of money. On the second case, we have a solar plant, a 100 megawatts plant that was protected with the coating, an anti-static coating, and this anti-static coating offer a potential gain of 3% on the solar plant. So this represents an additional gain per year of 270,000 euros. The cost of the application of the products, it's very low when we are talking about the anti-static solar armor, because the dilution of the product is 1 kilo of product for 1,000 liters of water, and we can cover with that almost 3,000 meters squared of solar panels, so a big area. And in the application of the coating, in case where the soiling is organic, it's only recommended once per year. So this will represent an annual gain of 257,000 euros, and the return of the investment, as we can see, is lower than 1 month. So it's why I always say what is costly is not the product, it's not cleaning. So it's very important when you are talking about when you are talking with asset managers, asset owners, talking with them about these numbers, okay? Because normally they are the person in charge for the performance of the solar plants, and they will like to see these kind of numbers. So before to go to the question and answers, I remember now that I have this additional slide. This is just to mention to you that we have recently launched a new range of products. After to launch the drone solar cleaning agent, we have created and developed other products for drone application. We have for different kinds of cleanings, for glass, we have for exterior surface, for organic soiling, for inorganic. We have a stain breaker to remove some organic stains present on the surface. We have an hydrophobic coating for porous surface, and also the wind turbine for cleaning this wind turbine. So now we can go to the question and answers. Once again, thank you, RenewChem, for this to this partnership and for organizing this webinar. And anyone can now ask their questions. I will probably start with the question on the chat, and after I will allow the persons to put their question. So the first one, you apply then Spain on it or immediately. Okay, this one I believe I have already replied. So yeah, the first step is always to spray the products on the panels, and depending on the product that you are using, you can brush immediately, or you need to let the product act for some time. Can you repair or apply new IRC coating? No, unfortunately, it's not possible. When the IR coating is damaged, it's not possible to recover it. Is there a dosatron agent in South Africa? This is a good question. I don't know, but if you need one, RenewChem can probably supply you the model that you want. Concerning the case we are talking about, the 100 megawatts, normally this one was protected with anti-static solar armor. We are talking about a big solar plant, so these solar plants normally are cleaned with robots, and on that case, for the product we recommend to be applied with the robot or a sun brush, for example. It's anti-static solar armor. Also because, as I explained it before, when you apply the anti-static solar armor, you don't need to rinse to make a second pass to rinse. Okay, if you use the solar wash protect, you will need to do a second pass to rinse the products at the end. Concerning the last question on the chat, could the CRA harm the IR coating ever if wrongly applied? Fortunately, no. It will not damage the IR coating. Okay, the CRA. As I mentioned, all the products was tested by TUV suits, and the result shows that the products are not doesn't pose any risk for the IR coating. So it will not be a problem for the air coating. What can be a problem for the air coating will be the solid, and also not to use inappropriate equipment or tool to do the job. So during your presentation, you shared examples of how to use chemicals for cleaning solar panels, as well as the use of brush for the cleaning process. Could you please provide more detailed information about the cleaning process using drones? We'll be very interested to better understand the methodology. Okay, so this webinar was not to talk about the drone application, but answering very quickly. So the process of application is very similar to the others. Okay, so you need to dilute the product in water and spray the product with the drone. Okay, after let the product act for 5 minutes for all of them, for all the products. If I present for all those, sorry, let's go to the slide just to. So about the drone products. So for the drone solar cleaning agent, drone glass cleaning agent, and these three. So the method of using the products, you spray the product on the surface, let the product act, okay, for 5 minutes, and after rinse. Okay, for the other ones it's different. So the drone stain breaker, it's as we can say, probably an economical um, product, because what you do with these products, you spray the product on the surface and let the product act normally. You will not see the results immediately, as you will see with the other ones. Normally, with these products, the results become weeks or months after, okay, because you are just applying the product on the surface and let it act to remove the stains. The hydrophobic spray, the hydrophobic coating, you spray the product on the surface. It need to be a porous surface, okay, and you don't need to rinse. So during presentation, when cement removal agent was used, it created a little bit of foam. I know in case of cement factory, when we need to use spear, yes, as I say, normally when you are applying the CRA, and if the soiling it's really soiling that needs the cement removal agent, this white foam appear. On your case, if it doesn't appear, it's not a problem, of course. The most important is that the product provide good results. But in more of the case, yes, this white foam will appear. So concerning the Bilal questions, can drone be applied for inorganic contaminant, and was it applied and proven already? So we have now on the conversation our new colleague who is in charge for the drone product, Marta. Probably she will be able to reply to you. Let me just permit that she can talk. So Marta, if you want, you can reply to this question about the drone application, the drone products. Marta, do you want to join the conversation? So probably she's shy, but answering your question about these products in organic, these ones are not for solar panels. They are for surface, exterior surface, like buildings, facades, and yes, you can apply this one on inorganic soiling. We have already good feedback um, about the products. We can, at the end, also share some of these feedbacks with you. But as I said, this is a recent products that we have launched at the end of last year. But at the moment, we have already a lot of persons trying the products and with very good results. When you overspray cleaning products over the panel, and if some will go not on the panels but on other surface, we have to rinse it, can it damaged. So of course it's normal that can happen, but don't worry, it will not damage the surface. You don't need to rinse also the surface. It's not a problem. So no problem with that. Yeah, Bruno has already replied to that. Okay, so on the chat, all the question was replied. I don't know if someone else have other questions. Because I don't know if you want to say something also to the group.
So thanks, Tiago. I would just like to say thank you for everybody for joining the webinar from my end as well, from RenewChem side. The goal is always to keep systems clean, keep them safe, and keep them performing at its best. And I think Tiago, you and your team at Chemitek is doing an exceptional job with it. So thanks for all your support as well. And I'd just like to ask everybody if there's any questions regarding a plant, or if there's any soiling that you're unsure about, please send the photos to me. I like discussing it with Tiago and his team as well. And at the end of the day, Tiago, as you and Bruno normally say, normally with the ROI, it normally takes longer for a decision than to just get the ROI paid off. So, but yeah, thanks for your guys as well for hosting the webinar. And yeah, it's great to see a community of people coming together to just learn a bit more about solar panel cleaning and getting the best out of systems. So yeah, thanks, Tiago.
You're welcome. My pleasure. It's very honestly, it's very good to see 35 persons on the webinar. Of course, counting both of us and some of persons of our teams, but. It's very interesting to see that the maturity on the South African market is increasing in terms of solar cleaning, and we are here, of course, to help all of you to provide good service and quality, of course. Also very important, always keeping in mind doing the job safely and keep the performance of the assets in this high level. So thank you very much, all of you, to attend this webinar. It was a pleasure for me. Any question, any doubt, we are always able to help you. If you need some kind of information, we can also provide it. Just talk with Ricos, and Ricos can also ask us to that. And thank you, everyone. So I will finalize the event. And once again, thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.